Hello YouTube, welcome to my new show. It is called Battle of the Powers. In this show, we will talk about battles between movie characters and characters from books that we all think are powerful. Battles that would not normally happen. I swear on the Holy Bible, in the name of God, to state that the facts I use in this courtroom are true and based off of the books and the movies of these characters. Let's see. Today, our battle is Morgoth versus Voldemort. Okay. So, Morgoth. We'll talk about him first. Morgoth is J.R.R. Tolkien's first Dark Lord. Yes, the person who wrote the books about The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. That is him. Morgoth was the first Dark Lord of Middle-earth. He was a Valar, an Ewe, a god. The evil god, once named Melkor, but then he killed the father of one of his kind, and he was then had another name, a name given to him, the name of Morgoth. Morgoth created many dark creatures, such as orcs. He created the Balrogs, which are Mayas that have been mutated. Orcs are mutated elves. He created the trolls from the stone. And if they are in the sunlight, they turn to stone once more. He also created dragons, all this using his dark energy. His favorite weapons. Well, I'll get to that later. Anyway, he is a god, and he cannot be killed because he is an immortal, only trapped. He conquered many civilizations. He conquered Gondolin. He conquered... what was it? Sorry, this is that part of the show. He killed Fingolfin, a person who wounded him after challenging him to a battle. Morgoth stepped up as a man and a leader. He would not turn down a fight. So when the challenge came, he fought. He was wounded with a sword. This sword made wounds in him that could never heal. This battle made him weak. So, let's see here. And it took all the other 7 Valors, all the other gods, and an army to subdue him, trap him, and put him into the prison of eternal night. It is said that when Morgoth returns, the end of the world will be brought upon. The Valar have not released if the good or evil will win yet. So J.R.R. Tolkien writes. Let's see here. And Voldemort. Now let's move on to him. Voldemort was a kid once. A kid named Tom Riddle, who later on began to want power. He was cruel to many of the kids in his orphanage, born of Tom Riddle, his father. He didn't want to keep his name, his Muggle father's name, so what he did was drastic. He changed his name into a name that all would fear, Voldemort, which means flight from death. Vol means flight, de, from, and mort means death. So flight from death. And you can see why. The reason he called himself Voldemort is because he created Horcruxes, which means that if his body is destroyed, his soul lives on, making him immortal, which means he flees from death like it's nothing. As long as these Horcruxes are exist and are not destroyed, well then, he cannot die. Just like Morgoth cannot die. Anyway, he grew up. He was the most bright wizard ever. He knew more spells than any other wizard. He became the greatest wizard. The only person that matched him was Dumbledore and Harry Potter. But only Harry Potter could only beat him when he destroyed the Horcrux. Dumbledore matched his power only because he had the Elder Wand. And the other one will play a role in this. So, let's see here. The battle will begin soon. Now, in this video, you won't see actual battles animated. I'm just going to tell you the facts and everything. Okay, so Voldemort. Let's start with Morgoth's stats. He's immortal. He's a god. He is evil itself. He is a very skilled person in battle. He knows many weaponries. His weapons: a sword of molten lava. Many people don't know he had that sword, but he barely used it, which is why it's really never mentioned by J.R.R. Tolkien. His most famous weapon, the hammer Grond, and he had a giant mace as well. His armor, demon-like. Sauron took some of the designs of his armor. He looked much like Sauron. So, here's Voldemort's stats. Voldemort, very well done in magic. He knows many magic spells. His favorite spell, Avada Kedavra, the Killing Curse, accompanied by Crucio and Imperio. Imperio makes people do as he wishes. However, Crucio is a torturing curse, causing instant pain in the person he uses the spell on. Though he uses mostly the Avada Kedavra, he has been seen using other spells as well as Incingio. No, that's not it. Not Incingio. Never mind. Forget that. Scratch that. Not Incingio. That's a different spell. Anyway, he has 7 Horcruxes. You must destroy all of them to kill him. Even destroying all the Horcruxes will not kill him. Then you must kill him specifically. So, and if we're going to include armies, Morgoth's army was well in the millions, including 7 Balrogs, the leader of the Gothmog. The Balrogs were Mayas, the same type people that Gandalf was. Technically demigods, only they were mutated into creatures of dark, smoke, and fire. You might know what a Balrog is if you've seen Lord of the Rings movies. Trolls are in his armies as well. Dragons. Oh yeah, everybody loves dragons. He also had orcs, which didn't do shit against his enemies, but they seemed pretty well used in Lord of the Rings. Anyway, let's look at Voldemort's army. Death Eaters. His armies are probably well in the hundreds of thousands, nowhere near the millions that are in the armies of Morgoth. Morgoth has a fortress called Angband. We'll place the battle at Angband. Yes, we will place the battle at Angband. But in Voldemort's armies, he has giant spiders, but Morgoth also has giant spiders. Spiders much bigger than the spiders that are in Voldemort's army. Oh yes. The spiders that are in Lord of the Rings are much bigger. Ungoliant. Morgoth has Ungoliant, which is almost a 50 to 80 foot tall spider. with venom. But anyway, let's get on with that. Spiders, and let's say the basilisk is in this war. However, unfortunately, this is fact. Balrogs can only be killed by magic weapons, not by powers. Therefore, meaning the Balrog's look would not kill the basilisk's eyes, would not kill the Balrog. Anyway, personally, that's true. Gothmog can only be killed by Gothmog, the leader of the Balrogs, can only be killed. All the other Balrogs could be killed by normal weapons, but Gothmog could only be killed by a magical weapon. So, Gothmog could not die. And that's this. Anyway, let's just get on with the fight. Here is the fight. Voldemort's armies marched against Angband, the indestructible fortress of Morgoth. They try to fight. Morgoth sends out his armies and his servant, Sauron. That's right, Sauron was a servant of Morgoth. The armies fight. Voldemort teleports into Angband, into the throne room. This is where the battle between Voldemort and Morgoth takes place. But first, we will go to the battlefield with the armies. First, the basilisk comes up, snatching up orcs and eating them, killing them with his eyes. But you see, he can only focus on certain things at once. So, many of the orcs and trolls are fighting them from behind. That's right. But the snake its armor is just simply too thick. And then the Balrogs step out. Three of the 7 Balrogs see the eyes of the serpent and die. But Gothmog stares at it like, "What you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do?" The snake lunges, trying to bite him. But Gothmog grabs the snake's jaws and holds it open. Gothmog's eyes widen at the size of the fangs and says, "My, what big teeth you have." And the snake says, all the more to poison you with. And that is when Gilarum, the first dragon, comes forth and barbecues the snake. Like Texans. People in Texas barbecue that snake and eat it. Well, no. They do, but that's gross. Anyway, what happens next? After that happens, Death Eaters shoot Avada-Kedavra at all the orcs. Most of the orcs fall. But as the armies are well in the millions of orcs, far outnumber the hundreds of thousands of Death Eaters. Oh yes, far. They cannot shoot enough Avada-Kedavras in time, and then they clash. Wands are snapping against the swords of Morgoth's armies. The Balrogs charge at the spiders, stomping on them. Though several Balrogs fall, Gothmog remains. Dragons continue to fight and swipe. The battle goes on for quite a while, but even the giants were no match for the Balrogs and dragons. for Morgoth had a dragon the size of a mountain range. That dragon was slain, and he falls on Angband and the three-peaked mountain, Thangoldrim, crushing the mountain, as the Book of J.R.R. Tolkien says. However, this crushes the armies of Voldemort. Oh, I'll be back. What the heck?
What? Oh, I didn't know. Here, take this to your mom.
How did you not know?
I didn't see it.
The keys are on your bed, Mom. Anyway, the armies of Voldemort are crushed under the mountains that collapse. Parts of Angband fall. The force creates lava coming from the ground after cracks appear. All of Voldemort's armies are crushed on the mountain range-sized dragon. Gothmog is slain by the sword of Gryffindor, stolen by one of the giants and stabbed. However, the remainder of the armies and dragons return to Angband, where the battle between Voldemort and Morgoth are going to begin. Morgoth.
For some reason, why you can't check and make sure it's unlocked?
Morgoth attacks Voldemort. Voldemort teleports behind him and shoots in the Avada Kedavra at him. Morgoth turns around and simply deflects it. And then Voldemort just keeps evaporating all over the place, shooting Avada Kedavras at all angles and less than a second. Morgoth deflects it. All of them in spinning motion. Okay, enough of that. And then, what happens next? It's amazing. Voldemort gets mad. He takes the Elder Wand and shoots Morgoth full force with a Avada Kedavra with such power that it creates a blast that destroys all of Angband and all of Morgoth's armies. And with so much power, and the Elder Wand not being and belonging to Voldemort, but to Harry Potter, who, let's say, he killed. Well, anyway, what's his name? Oh yeah, the Voldy's wand, the Elder Wand, explodes with such energy. It scatters throughout the land and destroys the Horcruxes. Now, despite the fact of that the Horcruxes can only be destroyed by Basilisk Venom, the Elder Wand is the strongest wand ever. I think it has enough power to destroy the Horcruxes. It is said that nothing can withstand the force of the Elder Wand, therefore meaning not even the Horcruxes can. So anyway, the force sends shockwave through all the land, destroying everything. And everything's just a charred, flat, barren land, smoking. Voldemort is lying on the ground, bleeding badly, and trying to crawl away, while Morgoth is standing above him without a scratch, grinning and popping his knuckles. That is when Morgoth pulls out his molten lava sword. Molten hot sword, anyway. And burns the words pussy into Voldemort's back, forever cursing him as a wussy, pussy, scaredy cat. And someone who can't fight back with crap. But the Horcrux is destroyed. Morgoth crushes Voldemort into dust by slamming the hammer Gron upon his body until the earth cracks. In two. Now, these are based on real facts for you guys, just so you know. Now, let's see why Morgoth won. And why Morgoth's armies won. 1. Morgoth's armies won because they were much bigger in number. And if all the Death Eaters shot a Avada they wouldn't be able to hit all the orcs and kill them all in enough time. 300 million orcs versus 500,000, maybe not even that many Death Eaters. It's not going to work out. They wouldn't have enough time to just keep shooting more and more in time. By the time that happened, they would have been clashed. And you see, the Death Eaters don't have swords. They don't fight back. They only have wands. And the wands would be just simply cut in two with the swords. Brutal murder. Now, that's why the Death Eaters would die. I mean, many of the orcs would die as well. And many of the Balrogs would die because of the Avada curse. But, here's something else. The Sword of Gryffindor is magic. That's what kills Gothmog. Gothmog can only be killed by a magical weapon. Which is why he dies later. But you see, since that he can only be killed by a magical weapon, written by J.R.R. Tolkien, I can't remember which book or where it was stated, but it was. Anyway, since he could only die by that, as the Lord of the Balrogs, the stare of the Basilisk would have no effect on him. And while the Basilisk is being distracted by Gothmog, a giant dragon would blow fire and just burn or roast the snake to later be eaten by Texas. Roasted snake. Just kidding. Okay, and then that is when an Avada curse goes up and hits a giant dragon the size of a mountain range. I can't quite recall his name. Which falls upon the armies of Voldemort and lands on the mountains of Thangrodrim, whatever the Three-Peak Mountain was, where Angband was. Now that was actually stated in J.R.R. Tolkien's story, that giant dragon actually fell on those mountains and crushed Angband. So, anyway, that happens, and the weight just crushes all of the armies. Gothmog is killed. Several dragons are killed by giants. Well, maybe. Because the dragons of J.R.R. Tolkien can only be killed by black arrows, or dwarven black arrow, or magic. So, either way, lots of people die. But the winner? Morgoth's army. On the armies. Let's look why Voldemort lost. Voldemort did not understand that Morgoth was a god, and he was immortal, and that it took 6 other gods to trap him. 6 other gods who were nearly as powerful as Morgoth. And as an immortal, the Avada would have no effect on him. Now Morgoth lost a lot of power when he created those dark creatures, but he still had a lot of power. Now, I'm taking the power from Morgoth at his prime, before he created those creatures. I know that doesn't fit in very well with the story, but that's how I put it. So, with that, and he had a magic hammer. But you see, the reason Voldemort died, or failed, he didn't understand that the Elder Wand was not his. When he did not understand that, he failed to know how it worked. When he used the full force, in the anger, his anger got to control it. You know what I mean? I guess you don't. The Elder Wand, as powerful as it may be, well, the Elder Wand is extremely powerful, and it is stated in one of the books of Harry Potter, or I can't remember. I read up on all this stuff. I base it on all facts. J.R.R. Rowling. No, wait a minute. I can't remember who wrote Harry Potter. Anyway, according to the person, she who wrote Harry Potter, states that the Elder Wand is so powerful that no magic can withstand it. The Horcruxes are said to only be able to be destroyed by basilisk venom. But you see, there's the problem. One of those magics has to beat the other. But considering that the Elder Wand was made by Death himself, and that Death made that, which means everything would be destroyed by it. So when the wand exploded because it did not belong to Voldemort, and it was so powerful, it would shatter or destroy the Horcruxes, leaving Voldemort mortal. And that was what ended him. And then the reason Morgoth carved the word pussy into Voldemort is because he thinks Voldemort is a wuss and he sucks. Now, in all truth, Voldemort is very, very powerful and very deadly. But that was his mistake. The Elder Wand may be powerful, but power isn't everything. One hit with Grond, the hammer of the underworld, that belonged to Morgoth, is all it would take. Winner, Morgoth. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I actually enjoyed this. So, there is the battle between Morgoth and Voldemort. Sorry, Voldy fans. Voldy cannot win against a god. Voldemort is human. No matter how inhuman he looks or how inhuman he seems, he is still human. And fighting against a god, no one can defy death except a god. No one. Even with the Horcruxes, he's not immortal. He's still mortal. He can still be killed. A god? No. Even all the other things, valor, together's power, could not kill him because he's a god. Only be trapped. And I don't think Voldemort would figure out how to kill him. So, if you like this video, click that like button down there and subscribe. And I love Morgoth. I love him. He's my favorite. Because Sauron cowered at his feet. But, if you like this video, click that like button down there and make sure to subscribe. This was The Battle of the Powers, Episode 1. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want me to do more, I will do more. If you have any suggestions on what battles you want me to mention or talk about, I will. But if you don't, leave any comments. I'll still fucking make another video anyway, because I enjoy this. Yo, peace out, YouTube. Bye-bye.